When turning on a highway exit ramp that curves sharply, you should slow to a safe speed before the curve. Braking before the turn lets you maintain control without skidding. Up next, what is the minimum legal tread depth for passenger car tires in Florida? 2/30 inch. This depth ensures your tires have enough grip, especially on wet roads. Moving on. When approaching a stopped school bus with flashing red lights, you must stop and remain stopped until the lights go off. Children may be crossing. Stopping protects them. Here's another. What is the maximum speed limit in a residential area unless otherwise posted? 30 miles per hour. This limit helps protect pedestrians and neighbors. Let's keep going. Under Florida law, a move over requirement means you must change lanes away from stopped emergency vehicles if safe. This creates space for responders working roadside. Now on to the next question. What should you do if an oncoming vehicle crosses the center line and heads toward you? Slow, blow your horn, and move right. Warning the other driver and giving yourself room helps avoid a collision. Next up, when are you required to use your headlights in Florida? Between sunset and sunrise, headlights improve visibility and let others see you in low light. Let's proceed. The minimum following distance you should maintain under ideal conditions is 3 seconds behind the vehicle ahead. This buffer gives you time to react if they brake suddenly. On to the next. On a multi-lane road, a dashed white line means you may change lanes if safe. It indicates lane separations where passing is permitted. Let's continue. When parking uphill with a curb, your front wheels should be turned away from the curb. If your vehicle rolls, it will roll into the curb and stop safely. Here comes another. How far away must you park from a fire hydrant? 15 feet. Keeping this clear allows firefighters to connect hoses quickly. Now consider this. At what BAC is it illegal for a driver 21 or older to operate a vehicle? 0. 8%. Exceeding this limit is considered impaired driving. Let's tackle the next one. Who must wear a seatbelt in a moving vehicle? All occupants. Every person in the vehicle must be restrained by law. Time for the next question. When merging onto an interstate highway, you should match the speed of traffic on the highway. Blending in with traffic flow ensures a smooth, safe merge. Let's move forward. A flashing yellow traffic signal means slow down and proceed with caution. It warns you to be alert for cross traffic or hazards. Let's go to the next one. At a four-way stop, if two vehicles arrive at the same time, who has the right of way? The vehicle on the right. This rule keeps intersections orderly and safe. Next question coming up. What should you do if you lock up your brakes in a panic stop? Release the brake, then reapply it firmly. This restores traction so you can brake effectively. Moving forward, when approaching a railroad crossing with no signals, you should slow down, look, listen, and be prepared to stop. Taking these steps prevents surprises from approaching trains. Here's the next one. In Florida, a broken yellow center line indicates passing is allowed on your side. You can overtake slower vehicles when it's safe. Now, let's go on. To make a legal U-turn in Florida, you must ensure no vehicles are within 200 feet and not on a highway. This prevents creating sudden hazards for oncoming traffic. Let's head to the next question. When encountering heavy fog, you should use low-beam headlights. High beams reflect off fog and reduce visibility. Next, we have, if your vehicle begins to hydroplane, you should ease off the accelerator and steer straight. Avoid braking or turning sharply to regain traction. Continuing on, what is the first thing you should do if your brakes fail? Downshift and use engine braking. Using the transmission helps slow the vehicle safely. Let's explore the next. When you see a no-zone sign next to a truck, it warns you about the truck's large blind spots. Staying out of these no zones reduces crash risk. Here's another scenario. You may cross a solid white line to avoid a hazard. Crossing is allowed only to safely navigate around obstacles. Let's shift to the next question. When parallel parking, the front of your vehicle should be even with the rear bumper of the vehicle ahead. This position keeps you properly aligned in the space. Onward to the next one. What does a pentagon-shaped sign indicate? School zone. It alerts drivers to watch for children and obey lower speeds. Let's advance to the next. Florida's move over law requires drivers to change lanes away from stopped law enforcement vehicles. This also applies to tow and emergency vehicles with lights on. Time for another one. A steady red arrow signal means No turns in the direction of the arrow. You must wait for a green arrow or circular signal to turn. Now let's move ahead. What is the purpose of the 3-second rule? To maintain a safe following distance, it provides enough space to stop safely if traffic slows. Let's dive into the next. When must you report a traffic crash with injuries or death? Immediately to law enforcement. Quick reporting ensures aid and proper investigation. Let's transition to the next. A red and white regulatory sign means you must obey the sign. They convey laws, and regulations that must be followed. Now let's check out the next. You approach an intersection with a malfunctioning traffic light. You must treat it as a 4-way stop. This rule prevents confusion and accidents at dark signals. Up for the next question. When loading or unloading passengers, you should keep the bus completely stopped and secure. This prevents slips or falls while boarding or exiting. Keep going with what should you do if you see a triangle symbol on a vehicle ahead? It is a slow-moving vehicle, 25 miles per hour or less. Be prepared to slow down and pass safely. On to the following. A double solid yellow line means no passing in either direction. Crossing these lines is illegal and unsafe. Let's springboard to when turning left from a 2-lane one-way street onto a 2-lane one-way street, you should turn from the leftmost lane into the leftmost lane. This keeps traffic flowing smoothly and avoids collisions. Let's pivot to what distance should you look ahead in the city? At least 1 block. Looking ahead helps you anticipate stops and hazards. Next in line, Florida law allows right turns on red after, stopping completely and yielding en we. You must still watch for pedestrians and cross traffic. Let's round out with what must you do when you see a wrong way sign? Immediately pull over and stop. You're heading against traffic. Correct your path before proceeding.